Hey everybody, welcome to another Digital Making at Home live stream for this week. It's really great to have you all back again. Our theme this week has been making retro games, which is something that I'm always been interested in. I love retro games, old school games. I played a lot of old school games as a kid. And so moving forward, it's always fun for me to make games that remind me of the stuff that I played when I was younger. And I'm sure you guys have played a few retro games in your time, like Pac-Man, all those sorts of old school things. And you see some of the content we're bringing out this week. It talks about Super Mario Bros., which is like one of the really old school, amazing games that was made by a guy called Miyamoto. He's a bit of a legend. And we talk about how they did things with sort of different graphics and how to keep the game small back in the day when memory was a real problem. And I think, for me anyway, that's what defines retro games, right? Is they're kind of simple and they have really easy to view graphics, very simple things to make and save on memory, do all those sorts of things. They're very efficient kinds of games, which is something that I'm really into, efficiency in code. And so this week has been really good for me personally to play around with some of these games and have a go. And so on this show, we've got some really great guests with us again. So this week we've got Rob Z, who made this awesome game called BBQ Dad, which we'll put a link up for later that you can have a look at. Really awesome retro game, very fun concept. I was playing it the other day. I got obsessed with it for a little while and locked in. I couldn't put the mouse down. We got a bit of a competition going at work with BBQ Dad to see who can get the highest score. So far, I'm going to be second, which I'll be disappointed about. And we've also got Zanti coming on this week, and she's going to help us make Flappy Parrot, which is kind of like a different version of Flappy Bird. We're going to do that in Scratch, and we're going to make it from completely empty projects. So we're going to make all of our sprites. We're going to do all the code from nothing. There's no starter project for this one. So if you want to do that in a little while, get ready, open a new Scratch project. We'll get ready to create something on Scratch together a little bit later. But before we do that, as always, we'll have our special guest on. So we'll see if Rob Z is back there. Are you in the background, Rob?
Hello, Mr. C. Yeah, I'm right here. Hello.
How's it going, dude? Are you good?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, it's we've got a new magazine coming out tomorrow, so I'm getting ready for that. So that's it's always a fun time to be doing some work on the MagPi.
Yeah, man. Are you do you guys have a real crunch period before each issue comes out? Do you find it's busy?
We can do, yes. We're sorry for the folks at home who don't know. I am the features editor for the MagPi, the official Raspberry Pi magazine. We come out monthly, but yes, we we do have a bit of a, not exactly a crunch, but we do definitely have to do a little bit extra work just to make sure that the magazine is in perfect condition when it comes out. Yeah, that was all last week though. So now we're just getting ready to show everyone the new excellent issue of the MagPi.
Awesome, that's cool. And are you allowed to talk about what's in the next issue, or is that super hush hush until it drops?
No, absolutely. So our cover feature is 25 no problem projects, and in this issue we're kind of giving you inspiration of kind of where to start your Raspberry Pi journey. From starter kits to building robots and magic mirrors, and maybe some simpler stuff as well. So yeah, it covers a broad range of the kind of things that you might want to get into when you've got a Raspberry Pi and want to build something cool.
That's awesome. And I think every month you try and have those things included, right? Like special physical projects that people can build. There's a lot of stuff about not just code, but there's a lot of digital making, particularly in the MagPi.
Absolutely, yes. We have we have our project showcases where someone's made something really cool. We'd like to sort of break it down a bit and show you some cool images, hoping that you can be a bit inspired by the projects these people make in the community. And we also have a selection of tutorials for you to make stuff. We're currently running some stuff to do with the new high quality camera for the Raspberry Pi, and we have stuff with IoT, home automation, simple making game stuff like we're going to be talking about today, and other digital making projects. It's we have a broad range of stuff.
Awesome, that's really cool, man. And we had the Code the Classics book come out a little while ago too, right? With all the cool game code in it. That's awesome.
Yes, that's been worked on for many years. I am coming up to my 5th year working at Raspberry Pi, and this book was in the works when I joined. So it's been a long time coming, but it's very cool. For those who don't know, Code the Classics is a book full of programs you can put into your Raspberry Pi or just on your computer to create kind of classic games. I can't remember the names of the games now, but there's some fantastic kind of 2D retro style games that you can play on these amazing, with your Raspberry Pi. All the assets for free. Sorry, the sprites and the code. So you can literally just download it if you want, or you can kind of learn coding as you make these games from scratch. It's really cool. I remember kind of playtesting some of these games 3 years ago, just making sure that they actually were quite good. But there've been plenty of tweaks since then. So yeah, and it's a lovely book.
And I mean, I know you're a big gamer, like you love video games, sort of like when we have our discussions around video games, like you've always got a really insightful opinion in my personal opinion. Like,
Yes.
So are you a retro gamer?
All my
I
games
can
kind
see.
of down there. Sorry, yeah. Yes, I've been playing games since the early 90s, and I have a collection of all the major games consoles since 1985, I think. Most of them, not all of them. I thought a few I need to get. But yeah, I've been playing games. I love playing old school games and retro games. I've been playing Donkey Kong Country recently, kind of getting back into that fun game. And yeah, it's I love kind of 2D games. Kind of there's an element of simplicity to it, as you mentioned before, and kind of some of the limitations that the programmers had back in the late 80s, early 90s, kind of really helped to create some incredible solutions that we still use in or play with in video games today. And it's kind of inspiring to know, the stuff they made and to see what they've done.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. And I think that the necessity being the mother of invention is one of the things I love about the old retro games, where, like you're saying, the limitations that were placed on them, trying to make something that would still be fun and engaging, was really interesting to like force those clevernesses, those sort of efficiencies in code, and like, duplicating graphics. So you had the same thing with different color codes and stuff like that. Sort of. Did you sort of, when you play like retro games and like when you sort of get into them and you're looking at those limitations, do you look at those ideas and analyze them in any sort of way particularly, or do you just sort of like let them flow over you and enjoy them?
I definitely do now. The last few years, I definitely have. So, for example, I was playing Donkey Kong Country, which is a game that came out in 1994 for the Super Nintendo. And I'm kind of, as I'm playing it, I'm recognizing what they're doing to teach you the concepts of the game before they put you in enough danger where you don't understand what you're doing. For example, there's a level where you're being fired around through barrels, which is a very Donkey Kong thing. But part of the elements of it is that you need to time when you jump into specific barrels, because they'll instantly fire you up into something else which you can then control. So it kind of starts you off with something that has no actual fail state, so you won't die if you kind of jump in at the wrong time, but at least teaches you to know kind of what it's expecting of you throughout the rest of the level. And it's quite subtle the way that it does it, but you can find examples of that throughout games in general, like Super Mario Brothers, as you referenced earlier. In the first level, there's a great bit where you're kind of just running along and you see 3 blocks and then a block above that, and there's a little enemy, a Goomba mushroom, kind of walking towards you. And the idea of that is that you kind of jump up to punch the bricks, and in doing so you kind of then fall down onto the Goomba enemy and squash it. And that's kind of like just trying to teach you how the game works. And it's kind of really interesting kind of how it worked in old games, because they couldn't have tutorials like we have in a lot of modern games. So it's just kind of very interesting the way that they had to be built into the game in such a way that new players could pick it up and kind of use it for the rest of the game. It's like really cool to see some of the examples of this as you play through retro games.
Yeah. No, I love all the old 2D side scrollers and stuff like that. And I mean, your game BBQ Dad is like a very different mechanically sort of game, right? Like it's not your old school 2D side scroller game. It's much more strategy based and sort of like time based. What inspired the idea for the gameplay in that game?
When it comes to ideas for stuff, I have a history of, I'm kind of a writer, so I write for the magazine, but I also write fiction. And I create little videos for conventions I go to. And I've kind of got an analytical brain where something will pop in and suddenly there'll be like, kind of a branch to kind of how this can be used. So for some reason, I was cooking actually a barbecue myself, just making some burgers. And I kind of flipped the burger. And in my head, I was like, nice flip. And that was basically the entire basis of BBQ Dad was, what if you were playing a game where you had to flip a burger well on a barbecue? And then I just kind of expanded it from there. I thought, it could be a cool kind of management sim, is what I believe is kind of the term they use for a game like this, where you have resources. Like in this game, you have money, which you can use to buy food to put on the barbecue. And as you said, Mr. C, there is timing and strategy to when you place the food on the barbecue and kind of making sure you flip it at the right time to get a bonus and send it off to get another bonus in quick timing. And a lot of the stuff like this is normally you have like 1 or 2 ideas, and then basically it kind of snowballs from there as if you're thinking about what you want to make. I started writing down kind of what I call a design document. Probably not the real term, but I just wrote down all my ideas into one document as I had them, because I can be quite forgetful. So if you if you have them all down, then you can refer back to them when you're making. And there's a couple of times where I read back through my notes and was, oh, I haven't added that bit yet, so I'll do that now. And yeah, that's kind of just how it came. I had a silly idea for a game that tells you that you flip something very nice, and it went from there.
That's really cool. And like the planning part of things is something that I always have to be really regimented with for myself, because I'm not good at that part. Like I always find that the boring part. Like I just want to start making a thing, but I've always found, like you say, when you make that plan, you're like, oh, I meant to do that part, and I meant to do that part, and I found that like having that plan ready to go, and you can refer back to it, and you can alter and add to the plan as well, right? Which is something I very often do when I'm like doing D&D adventures or D&D modules.
Absolutely.
I'll refer back to my plan and go, oh, I didn't tie that properly, or I can relink this to that and get some really nice new things cooking. And I think lots of young people, like, when I was young and even now, like planning is a hard thing, but it's important, right? Like it's a thing that we should be leaning into when you're starting to make a video game. Do you want to give us a run through of BBQ Dad? Like I know you can share your game with us. It's amazing. Like the graphics and everything, like the whole thing is just...
So yeah, I mean, these are some screenshots I've got of the game. This is the title screen. So when it comes to making games, especially at this level, like when you're making something out of scratch, say, I made it a bit more from scratch. Well, I made it a bit more customized with programming and such. Anyway, so my specialties are writing and coding a bit. I'm a bit of a stronger writer personally. So, I put all these down and I sketched out how I thought the screens would work. But I'm not a very good drawer. I don't draw very well. However, I have friends and I have access to a bit of money. So I was able to say the logo there, BBQ Dad. I paid someone on the website Fiverr to make it for me. Which came out really nicely. I like it. And one of my friends, she created the look of the dads, which I think is going to be an acronym, but I don't know what yet. I need to figure it out. But otherwise, other parts of the game. So let me see if I can go to the next screen. So I created the grill, kind of the barbecue grill in the center there, and the little kind of overlay where the food would go over. Now, I created this in a program called Pixel, Pixil art.com, and it's quite nice for making kind of very specific pixel art, and it has tools for doing it. But you can create it in any sort of kind of drawing application that allows you to kind of zoom in and do pixels at a time. And other parts I used, so this is kind of one of the screens of the game where you go shopping. The fonts there I got from a pack of what are called assets. Now, assets in video game terms means like these kind of the music, the sound effects, the visuals. So the kind of top bar on the shop.com, don't go to that, it's not a real website, is just like what I think was supposed to be used for a text screen from a bundle of game assets, which you can get on itch.io. I think it's called Kenny Game Assets. Has a lot of great stuff in there. The yellow note paper I got from a place called Open Game Art, which has loads of free art that you can use for your game, including models for 3D stuff, 2D sprites, images, other images, sounds, sound effects. It's great. It's all about kind of playing to your strengths, and not being afraid to ask for help from people and looking for the stuff that people have put out to help you kind of create a game. Because at the end of the day, I'm just trying to make something fun, and I don't want to be stressing too much over creating like these wonderful ribs that someone like commissioned to make for me, which were great. If I can go back to that one. Different types of foods that I had a friend, commissioned a friend to kind of make them all for me. But you can make them yourself. Like I actually made some myself when I was kind of creating the game, and they kind of worked. But if you have a bit of pocket money you can spend, it can be quite nice to pay someone to make some stuff for you. Like not always, but it depends on kind of your strengths and how you want to make a game. I believe we can actually put the game up on screen? Have you? Did you want to play it on screen? Right. Cool.
Yeah, we can do that. Let me just bring it up. So when you're getting these free asset packs and things like that, man, like there's a lot of stuff available, and I think the idea that you don't need particularly to be a graphics artist or to produce anything like massive like that in order to make a game. Like nobody asks a mechanic to go away and make his own spanner before he fixes your car, right? Absolutely. And I think like there's a lot of things like for young people who are daunted by that. I think the idea that you can go out and get a lot of those different things from around the internet is a really important thing to remember. Like you don't have to make everything from scratch. You don't have to make all the nuts and bolts of your game before you attempt to make something that's playable. I think that's really cool.
Yes.
So I've got BBQ Dad up now. I'll just share my screen with everybody.
Cool. I created it in software called RenPy, which is REN''PY. You can find it at renpy.org. And there we go. There it is. Which is it's normally supposed to be an engine for making visual novels, which are the kind of games where you're normally kind of talking to people and kind of having conversations with them. But I managed to. You can use it for other types of games, like the kind of game I made, mainly because it's very kind of a retro game with different types of screens, which I can just fill in with a bit of custom code. There's lots of great getting started guides for this, and the community is very nice, very similar to the Raspberry Pi community as well, which I think is quite nice. So yeah. But anyway, let's get started. Unfortunately, you can't hear the amazing music that my friend made, but it's great kind of 8-bit chiptune music that he said he laughed all the way through making, so that's always a good sign.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah, it's awesome. And so I love the idea that you can choose all your different dads and things like that. And then so this is kind of your tutorial screen, right? This is how you progress in the game part.
Yeah, it's a little bit clunky that I'm just telling people straight just to click, but I thought it might as well just put it in there, just at least for now, while I'm putting out this kind of what I'm calling like a beta version or a preview version of what I eventually want to make. But it's this is kind of using the core RenPy visual novel stuff, like if you're having an image on the screen and putting some text. This stuff is a lot more custom though. So if you kind of hover your mouse over, you can kind of give them some descriptions of each of the food items, and I've made sure to keep some vegetarian and vegan options as well, because I think that's important in today's. There is one thing that I would fix for a future release, is that when you hover over, the text description is a little bit small, and accessibility in games is quite important. So we need to make sure that people can actually play your game rather than kind of struggle with it. With some of the text being small or what have you. I very specifically chose the text on the shopping list because I thought it was readable while still being a little bit like it's handwritten. But normally you wouldn't have kind of pixelated text to make sure it's all written, and you would have options to increase the size of the text, which is something I plan to add into a future version of the game.
Right on. And so do the different costs of the ingredients that you can buy for the player, do they affect the gameplay in any way? Do you get different score based on the things you put on the barbecue?
Yes, that's something that I should really kind of make a bit more obvious, is that different items give you different amount of points. So the more expensive the item, the more points we'll get for it, but it might take longer to cook, or it might cost more in general. We've put some barbecue ribs on. They're the slowest to cook in the game. I think I set to 30 seconds or 20 seconds, something like that, just to give you behind the scenes. And these are things that I can customize and tweak as I'm playing it, because RenPy's got quite a nice way of allowing you just to kind of type a little bit of code in and then literally just press play and play through what you've done. Ironically, the very last thing I did was actually record me saying "nice flip." We've got the sound off at the moment, but every time Mark is flipping, Mr. C is flipping the skewers and other items, within 2 seconds, my voice will tell you that's a nice flip. And when you're serving in a good time, I got all my friends to record a thank you, and that's what comes up when you're playing.
But it sounds super satisfying. The nice flip is awesome. Like I love hearing it. It's just like it's really cool.
One of the great things is that now you got something like Audacity, which is a great big piece of audio editing software that's free. So what I did was, with all these voice samples, I actually made them sound a little bit worse, like they were coming off like an old video game console, an old computer game. And I think that kind of adds to the aesthetic, the the kind of the way the game plays.
Definitely, yeah. And I love all the dad jokes in it. Like, it's filled with dad jokes, just all the way through. All right, so
Yes.
last week's barbecue went down a treat. You might say it was flipping good. Like, just primo dad jokes right there.
I don't normally like writing puns, so this was quite difficult for me. But you know, it goes. You know, if I had to do dedicate myself to the theme, get inside the heads of the dads and their jokes.
Nice.
So.
Nice, that's good. And then, so like, as the game progresses too, like, you ask for different dietary requirements. So this one here, we've got some vegans coming, so make sure
Yes.
you buy some plant things. And there's another level that's like, you need to have fish on your barbecue, which I really like the idea of forcing that complication for the player. I think that's really cool.
Yes, and each week you have a specific budget. This week it's 150 because you've got more friends. So yeah, you could put like 7 barbecue ribs on and 2 veggie skewers, and you would get a lot more points. I think. Are you going for a high score this week, Mr. C, by any chance?
I'm gonna, yeah. See, that's so I'm sneakily asking you how the algorithm works so that I can beat Matt when I have another go later.
But yes, with games like this, it's important to kind of introduce concepts one at a time. I think in teaching, I think you call it cognitive load. So basically, you don't want to bring up too many concepts at once, because then you've got to juggle all of those in your head. So like, oh, you know, you've got to flip the burgers and then serve the ribs and whatever. You don't want to. You just kind of want to grill for that first time. You don't really want to think about, oh, I'm being restricted this time. So I think in the last level, I've made it so. Oh, that's very good. Quick serve. Is that like a 9? Oh, crikey, nice. There we go. Lovely. So, you know, I bring it back in. I think in the last level, I have it so that you have to use one of everything, and you have a lot more money for that anyway. So, you know, it's just trying to give you a bit more variety of how you play, making it more interesting, just so it's not the same thing every time. And there's something I was able to easily add in RenP, just with a few lines of code each time, just to kind of set what each week the requirements were for that and other bits and pieces.
That's cool, man. I mean, and so the next step, like, once you've made a game and you've put all the awesome stuff in, you've got all your sounds, you've gone away and put all these assets together to make something that you think is fun and playable. Your game is hosted on itch.io.
Right.
How, like, can anybody do that? Like, is that easy to do? Is it a tricky sort of thing to set up a game like that?
It was a lot easier than I expected. One of the cool things is you can just create an account on there anyway, and then you can browse all the selection of games, and there's a lot of really cool free games on there that, you know, small teams or single people have made. So I just had an account already because I'd bought and downloaded a few games from there. You can then just upload your own project, and it doesn't have to be a game. It can be you know, the assets that I've mentioned before, or kind of a font or music related to game development. It was really easy just to kind of add an item, give it a name, upload the file, kind of give it a bit of a description. You know, as long as you're reading the instructions, it's super easy to kind of actually add something there, and then you get your own custom link. So, like, you know, mine is robthez.itch.io/barbecues-dad, which doesn't actually sound that simple now I've said it out loud, but that's kind of how it works. And you've got descriptions, and if you make any updates, because, you know, when I first released BBQ Dad, the sound, the music was actually a bit too loud, so I had to kind of remix the music so it was a bit less of volume, and re-uploaded it. And I kind of added some what we call patch notes for that. So I said, oh, you know, 1.0.1 now has better audio mixing or something like that, and this alerts the people that have downloaded the game so they can then get the update. And you don't have to put complete games on there. You can put just like fun stuff that you just want to put up and have a little kind of catalog of little things you've done. And yeah, it was just generally just quite easy and very fun.
That's really cool. It sounds like a really easy way to sort of like build a portfolio of work if you're a budding game developer, or you want to start showing people the things that you're making and have feedback. Like, that might be a nice way. And absolutely. I know your game is set to pay what you want, which basically means lots of people aren't going to pay you anything. Like, has anybody paid you for the game at this point?
Yes, they have. Mostly friends, which is fine. That's
awesome.
That's kind of how it works. But no, actually, I've broken even. So the money I paid to commission friends and other people to make me sprites has all been paid back by people who have bought the game. And again, I put pay what you want, and I actually tried to set it to 0 because I didn't want to try and force people to do an amount of money. However, itch.io kind of forces a minimum of $2. And I've had a couple of $2, and that's perfectly fine. Like, if people want to pay that, that's great. And it's just nice for a little bit of extra pocket money if people kind of really like your game. There's always the chance that your game might go viral. So you want to make sure you can make a bit of money if suddenly all the big YouTubers are streaming your game or whatever. So yeah, cool. But you do need to have a PayPal account. So I think you would need to have a parent help you set one up if you have something like that.
Oh, nice. And so this is a sort of question we ask everyone before we start our coding chunk of it is, like, what advice would you give to any young game developers who are sort of like looking to make something for themselves and do what you've done with BBQ Dad?
Learning to making games and learning to make games in Scratch is a fantastic first step. I feel that Scratch is a great way of learning kind of the logic, the grammar of code, like kind of how loops work and how you can have variables that get changed as you go along. And next steps of learning Python or whatever, or at least at a basic level, can help you use something like MagPi. Also, obviously we're talking about coding in these streams. Coding isn't even the only way to get into video games. If you like to do art, you can create game art. If you like to write, you can write the story for a video game in something like MagPi, which is a bit simpler to create these visual novel style stories. Just kind of practice and have fun with the tools you have, because that's the only way you're really going to learn. One of the things I've actually been doing the last couple of years is, I have a Nintendo Switch and I have Super Mario Maker 2, and making kind of levels in that is a kind of a great way to figure out, some way of how you're going to plot out your levels, kind of the story to them, and how you're going to introduce players to different concepts. And also you learn, like, one of the secrets about game development is a lot of things are a bit of a cheat. It's all kind of smoke and mirrors and illusions to make you feel like you're doing something that maybe you're not. So, as a classic example, there's a video game where they couldn't get a train to move along a track. So all they did was they created a little person with a train hat, the size of a real train. And so the person was walking underground, but actually kind of, it looked like a train was going along. And stuff like that. There's always something hidden behind what you can see to make something work. I'm trying to think if there's an example in BBQ Dad. Oh yes, so I think we saw between the shopping and the actual cooking part, there's a little video that pops up that says, "Oh, let's grill," and it kind of has the background from the grilling section. Well, that isn't the same background. I had to create the video with that background, with the smaller video inside, to kind of make it look like that was all part of the background, because I wanted to emulate a very specific effect from a game called Sonic CD, which has a little kind of opening animation of Sonic running around, but it's only like a very small section of the screen. So, and don't feel worried or scared or ashamed of doing these little cheats. Games and developers do it all the time. So, make games how you want with the tools you have, and you can always just build up from there. Everything creative is all about kind of practice. As the great Bob Ross once said, talent is just an interest that is pursued. So yeah.
Nice. That's a really good way to put it. And we've got a young person who's going to come on. So we've got Zanti in the green room here, and so I'm wondering if she's got any questions for you, because I know she's into video game stuff. Hey Zanti, how's it going?
Good, thank you. I have a question. What is your favourite bit about BBQ Dad?
That's a very good question. I like, I kind of like the shopping screen a bit, because I worked very hard on how it looked, and it has a very special part where when you put your mouse over an item of food, it shows the description of it, and it took me a little bit to kind of get that how I want it to look, including a little picture of the item, because I thought it's I think the little sprites and pictures of the food items on the grill, in the grill part, are great, but I'd show them more in the game because they're very good. The person that made them is very good at it.
Yeah, and also another one is what's your favorite code, like the bit of code which you've made, like mini game or something?
Yeah, what did I so that when the score is counting up at the end, I wanted to recreate the effect of old video games where it looks like it's just kind of counting up an amount. In the old Sonic games, it would kind of go ding, like with the ring effect, sound effect. I figured out how to make it so that when the sound effects are playing, that they can kind of run over each other. So what I did was I just had the code divide the full score by, I think it was like 30 or whatever, and have it update every 0.1 of a second, and play this bit of kind of jingle ring sound, and then playing it over and over and over again kind of creates like a very funny kind of ding, which is the exact sound effect I kind of wanted the game to play. So I was very proud of getting that working first time as well. So even though it was quite simple, but it was just a nice little bit of like polish, kind of just to kind of really show off what the game was doing.
Yeah, cool.
Awesome. That's cool. Have you got any more questions, Zanti, that you'd like to know while we've got game designer on the stream with us?
No, I think that's it.
No, that was good.
Cool.
They're good questions. They're really cool. Awesome, man. That was great. Thanks for coming on, Rob, and talking to everybody about how you made your game.
Thank you for having me.
No, it was a pleasure, man. It's really great to have you on. And so if you want to get hold of Rob's game, everybody, you can get it off itch.io. It's for free. You can get hold of his game. We just got a link down here, up.io/BBQ Dad, so BBQ DAD. Have a play of it. It's really, really fun. It's a nice way to sort of while away a cheeky hour or two, like, because I got really sucked into it, as I was saying earlier, trying to play Rob's game. I got super sucked in, and I just ended up playing it for about 2 hours straight before I realized how much time I had lost trying to cook all these ribs and things and getting the halloumi bonus. And part of it for me was working out how the game worked as well. And so we're going to move on now, Zanti. You ready to do some coding in Scratch?
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. So we're going to make our version of Flappy Bird, which is called Flappy Parrot. So I'll just pop my screen up and we can see what we're doing. So we're going to make it in a brand new Scratch project, everyone. So if you want to jump on, you can start a new Scratch project, and the instructions are available for you as well on the Raspberry Pi project site in case you get lost. And as Rob was saying, like, some people make games that go viral. Like, if you want to make a game, Zanti, like, you should just do it, right? Like, start making a game. Because did you know how Flappy Bird got so famous?
No.
So this guy just thought, I'm going to make this silly game, right, where you tap the screen and make the bird fly. And he sort of knocked it up just as a bit of a hobby thing. And he put it online and it went viral. And then it was the most popular game in the mobile store for like Android and Apple for forever, for months and months and months. And it made him loads and loads and loads of money because he just made a thing that he thought, yeah, totally. He just made this thing. He thought, that looks like fun. I'll make this silly game. And everybody loved it, right? So if you've got an idea, you should make one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where are we at? Where do you want me to start? What should I do first, do you reckon?
So first of all, you need a background.
Sweet.
I chose just like a normal I'm checking what it's called. Just normal outdoor background, like a cartoon blue. It's called Blue Sky.
That one?
Yeah, that's it. And then
Cool.
And then so once you've done that, you have to make the pipes, because the aim of the game is basically the parrot is, so it's basically like gravity keeps falling to the ground, but when you press the space bar, it goes up, but then it has to go, but there are pipes coming down from the ceiling, and those
Okay.
which basically, and if you crash into them, then it's game over.
Right.
So you have to get in between them. So there are normally 2 pipes coming from the ceiling.
Cool. So I'll make a new sprite, but I'll use the paintbrush to paint one, yeah?
Yeah.
And then cool, and I'll make
like
2
rectangles.
Just, is that all it needs to be?
Yeah, but you have to do
cool.
it a bit above, because obviously they move back and up and down. So you have to make sure there's quite a lot sticking out.
Oh, okay, cool. How's that? About enough, do you think?
Yeah, that'd probably be fine.
Yeah. Cool. Just gonna make sure they're lined
Just
up.
make them. It really doesn't matter. Just make as long as they're. Just make sure that the space in between them is big enough for the parrot to fit in.
Cool. Okay. Cool. I can do that. Cool. So it's sort of like there. Working.
The thing is, because the sprites, they don't really look like pipes. They just look like rectangles coming from the ceiling. So to make them look a bit more like 3D, you have to what you can do is basically put like a gradient in them. So if you go into fill, and then at the top you see there are like 4 squares on the color where you get the color from the there are 4 squares at the top, and you press the second one. If you press the second one, then you see it comes up with that, so you can choose the 2 colors. So what you need to do is you need to do the color which you want and a lighter version of that, or you can do white. I prefer to do a lighter version.
Okay, cool. So I want, what color is it? That's color 33, so I'll make it 33, and then just change the saturation a bit, like that.
Yeah.
Cool. And then fill these shapes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then it makes them look a bit more 3D.
Oh, that's cool. And then... So
yeah, and then you just do the same for the other one.
Cool. I'll make it go a bit brighter just so that... That's cool. Yeah, there we go. Awesome.
Yeah, wait, I'm just trying to get the number right. But what you also want to do is get rid of the outline, I think. Yeah, and you can keep the outline. No, you do keep the outline, and then you add the little rectangles at the end.
Right. Okay. Cool. So color 33 again, and then make it go up to here. Cool. And then I'll fill that, and I'll fill that. Awesome. Is that? Am I done? Is that about right? Do you think?
Yeah, and then you can gradient the small rectangles.
The ones on the top. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then what? And then you need to and then if the pipes aren't the right size, you can increase the size to them so that you can see how big you want them to be.
Okay.
But I think those are about fine.
Awesome.
And then you need to if you then you need to now you need to make the pipes move, so they move left and right. So first you need to add a when green flag clicked onto the sprite.
Cool. So that's the pipe. So we're not going to have the whole thing with just the pipes. It's just they're just going to slip across the screen and make it look like everything's moving.
Yeah. So
cool.
It looks like the parrot is flying.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Cool. Then you go hide because then it really looks like they're coming. And then forever create clone of myself and wait 2 seconds.
Right on. Okay. So control forever, and then create clone of myself.
So create clone of myself, and then wait 2 seconds.
Wait 2 seconds. I knew I forgot something. Awesome. Okay. Cool.
Otherwise, they would just keep coming and coming.
Right.
And then, so if you. Then you need to do when I started a clone, so there's a new block. You do show.
Because it's hidden before, right? So, okay, because I always forget that when I make clones. I always forget to put the show part until I realize like none of my clones are showing up. Because if the original is hidden, then it has to have a show, doesn't it, when you make a clone? Yeah. I always forget that part.
And then you need to make the pipes go to X 240, Y 0.
Okay, so we're going to make it go negative is to the left and positive is to the right. So it's going to go all the way to the right-hand end. And Y was 0, did you say?
Because then it's in the center.
Of course. Cool.
And then glide for 4 seconds to minus 240 to 0.
I see. 2, and then
So glide 4 seconds to minus 240, 0.
Okay, so can I fit one of those in there? No. So what's the sort of block I need to go in there?
Not the one, not glide 4 seconds to a random position. It said there should be one say glide for a second.
Oh yeah, cool.
That,
I see it. I see it. Nice. Okay, cool. Minus 240, and then the same Y. I guess we want to keep it level. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes, and then what you have to do, then you can try. So if you press go now, you should see that they glide across. Oh, you need to change it to 4 seconds. Glide for 4 seconds.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was going to say this game's going to be hard, but yeah, cool. That's way better. Way better.
Yeah, but you can see there's those problems. One is that they're always in the same place, and also that they stop at so you can still see a bit sticking out. So if you press the so now you should have what you have to do is where it says go to X 240 and Y 0, change the Y to a pick random. So if you go into operators, there should be a thing between pick random between 1 to 10, and if you put that on the go to block.
Oh yeah, whoops.
You need to write pick random between minus 80 and 80. Then this is the bit which you need to test because it's obviously going up and down. You don't want the end of the pipe sticking out. So if you go again now, they should be fine.
Okay.
Except that they're always ending in the same position because because of, so what you have to do is you have to delete this clone underneath.
Okay, so that's a control.
And then you can try it underneath the glide for 4 seconds. Now, if you try it, it should work.
So it'll clear out those clones.
Still keeps going upwards.
So because I think that's because it's got glide 4 seconds to Y0. So even if it picks a random one to start with, it will always end at Y0. It always goes back to the middle.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's
see.
Maybe, what can we do about that?
That block. Let's try it without that block. No, because it has to glide.
Okay. Oh, you know what it needs? I know what it needs. It needs one of these. So it would just keep Y position the same. So that should.
Yeah.
Cool.
That was the block I was looking for.
So I might change the costume just quickly because it looks like they're sort of hanging off the edge a bit. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna make sure that they don't do that. I'm gonna make them longer.
Yeah, it's working now.
Awesome. Oh, cool.
But
we're making a game.
But the thing is, what's happening with mine is that the end of my pipe is just sticking out a bit, so I'm just going to make mine a bit longer.
All right.
I think that's probably fine. Okay, I'm just going to try mine again. Now the bottom isn't big enough. Okay, so then what you have to do is you have to make Flappy, the bird, you have to make it full, so because otherwise it would just like float and then and it just goes up and it doesn't go down. So if you go too far up, you can't go back down again. So first of all, you need to get the parrot sprite, which is called Flappy.
Is it?
It's not called Flappy, but it's called Parrot.
I'll call the sprite Flappy. Yeah. I get what you mean. Can I pick something else?
Yeah.
Parrot's all right. I might choose something different. I'm going to choose this hippo because this hippo is cool.
Yeah. but then you have to adjust it so that it fits in between the pipes.
Okay.
So you probably need to make that a bit smaller. If you've chosen Flappy, it needs to be 25%. You set the size 25%.
Okay. So I'll set it to, what was it before? So the size will be 100 before. Oh, that's way too small. Still a bit small, right?
Yeah, it probably needs to be like 50% for the.
Okay. 50. Cool. Yeah, cool.
So then on the parrot sprite or whatever you've done,
Yeah.
the animal sprite, you need to do when green flag clicked.
Yeah.
Go to -50, 0.
Okay, -50, 0. Cool. I can do that.
Go to
-50. So.
And then, so if you click that, then it should go into the center. But
Yeah,
your
awesome.
sprite might be facing the wrong direction, so you might want to flip it around.
Oh no, my guy's going forward. The little hippo guy's running forward.
Yeah.
So he's doing okay.
I'm just trying to flip mine around.
Alright, cool. I'm gonna add a cheeky thing that's gonna make my guy look like he's flying all the time. That one.
The parrot sprite actually has 2 sprites to make it look like it's flying, but you can just edit it like what Mr. C has done.
Yeah. I just added a little chunk. So like my forever loop is basically just next costume and then wait a second. And I can make him look like he's going faster if I change that number.
Yeah, so that is the next bit.
Yeah.
So you put forever. Actually, no, the next bit is to make him fall so that he keeps, so underneath the when clicked.
Okay, yeah.
A forever loop.
Yeah.
Saying minus y by 3.
Okay. So change y by -3. Cool.
Yeah. So then if you do it now, it should just sink to the bottom.
Yep, awesome.
Sink. And then what you need to do is you need to make him fly. So you need to do when space key pressed.
Okay, when space key pressed, yep.
Repeat times 10, change y by 6.
Okay, change y by 6.
Yes.
Okay. And so if I change that number there, that'll make him fly
upwards. If you press then the higher the number, the more you go up. But 6 is a good number because otherwise, if you go too far, then you just miss it.
Okay, yeah,
cool. You miss the pipes. I'm just going to change y. So if you try it now, then when you press the space bar, you should move upwards.
It's working. Awesome. That's cool. Yeah, I got it going.
Yeah, and then okay. So next, what you need to do is you need to get the wings flapping. You've already done that, so you just go when clicked forever next costume, and then wait however many times you want, however long you want to wait. Okay. And then what you need to do is, I'm just going to put that. Then we need to stop it because there's no point playing at the moment because he can just go right through the pipes. So what you need to, what you can do is you need to do a when clicked on the parrot. You need to do when the green flag clicked. I just put a bit of code in the wrong thing. When green flag clicked, you need wait until, which is in the control thing.
Oh yeah, I see it. Cool.
Wait until, and then you need a green block, which in the operators, there should be one with an or in between, so with 2 bits and then an or. And you put that in the wait until. So then you put in a blue, in a sensing block.
Oh yeah.
Touching pipes or touching edge. So one saying touching sprite 1 or whatever it's called, and then touching the edge. And then you need to, what you can do is if you go onto sounds at the top of your onto that one, then if you add a sound, I'm doing a parrot, so I'm going to search screech, but if you can do whatever suits your animal. Whoa. That's not very good sound. I'm gonna try bird. Okay, they don't actually have very good sound, so if you don't want to do a sound, then you don't have to.
You could record your own one, I guess, right? Like they let you, they have the option for that. You could record your own one if we wanted to, but that's cool. I've got one that's like called Lose. So I'll see if I can play it for everybody.
Yeah. So if you put, then you can, so then under the wait until block, start sound, whatever the sound you want to do, and then you can say in the looks, if you put a say, game over.
Okay. Say game over.
And then you can then do it. Then you have to do a broadcast. So if you go into events, there should be at the bottom. It should say broadcast message 1. So if you click on message 1, it should say new message. And then if you type in the block which comes up, game over, and then press OK. So the broadcast basically sends a message. So once a broadcast on a different script, you can say when I receive it. So after underneath the broadcast game over, you need to put in control. There's a block saying stop all. Well, if you put it underneath and then you put stop other scripts in sprite.
Right, okay, so once it sends this game over message out to the entire game, it will stop everything that's happening to my parrot / flying hippo.
Yeah,
okay,
but not to the pipes. So the pipes will still get going. So so then on the pipe block, if you do when I receive game over, which is just above the broadcast game over, it's on events.
Oh yeah, yep.
Then you put in a control. You put stop other scripts in sprite.
Stop other scripts in sprite. Oh, that's up a bit, isn't it? So yeah. Stop all. I always get a bit confused by that because it says stop all, and I'm looking for a block that doesn't say that. But yeah. That's cool.
So then once you've done that, it should. So in theory, it should work. When you press go, it should work. It just won't have the score. And then you can see, and then next we're going to add a score. It says just add a score, but I was thinking maybe we could also add like a high score as well.
Nice. Yeah, cool. Let's do that.
So first thing, so where it says when clicked, on the pipes. When it
Yeah,
says
cool.
when
Yeah.
clicked, hide and forever click myself. Above that, above the hide block, if you make on variables, if you click the block, make a variable,
Okay.
which and
Yeah.
then you write score. So then and then you press OK, and then on the then it should say set my variable to 0. Well, if you press the little triangle, you can press score, set score to 0, and if you put that above the hide block, there, then at the beginning it will set it to 0, because otherwise it'll just carry on from the person
Cool.
before.
Yeah.
And then on the pipe sprite, you need to add when I start as in the pipe sprites, when I start as a clone,
Yeah.
wait until, and then what you need to do is wait until, so then in the green block, which has it basically has a less than or more than symbol, that you need to do it so the mouthy bit is pointing left, like that one.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Greater than.
And then you get a sensing one, and you need to do. So there's one thing. Just need to find it. I can't find it. Oh yeah, where it says backdrop of stage. No, it's not that one. It says exposition of Flappy.
I think I know.
Okay, I think I've got it. But where it says backdrop of stage, if you get that one, you change it to exposition of whatever your
Cool. Yeah, that's tricky. Like I see why that's tricky. Like if you pull it out, if it's set to stage in the right hand side, you get a bunch of different stuff on the left. Like they're the things to do with the background, right? So if I switch this to hippo, then it gives me a list of all the things to do with the hippo instead.
Yeah.
Cool. That's tricky. That's tricky to find that one.
Then on the motion, if you scroll down, there should be like a little circle thing saying exposition. Well, if you put that next to it, on top of the 50, then and then you need to do change score by 1. So where you got the set score to 0 bit, you need to there should be change my variable to 1. So you change that bit.
Cool.
Change score by 1. So not add you a score, add you a point. And then you can, if you want to, you can start sound pop, but I don't really want to. So now if you test it now, it should, every time you go through a pipe, you should get a score.
I can't get him to go through the pipes. I keep losing.
Yeah, my highest score is like 19, but I did it. I was doing it. I was looking on something else, so I wasn't even concentrating, and I got it. So now I really wanted to add like a high score.
Cool.
But it doesn't change. So it's always there. So you have to try and, so you don't know who did it. It's just always there for you to beat. So you have to add a new variable called high score. On the pipe sprite. And then, okay, that didn't work. High score. It's not letting me add it. It's saying, wait, let me try again. Okay, it's still not looking. Okay, anyway, well, you add a variable named high score, and basically every time. So if you go on to, it's very hard to do when you're actually doing it. So if you go when clicked forever.
Yep. When clicked forever. Yep.
So basically you have to choose the highest score. So forever, if score, I don't know how to do it.
So you'd want to have like a greater than, right? So if you've got the regular score and then you've got the high score, you would want to check to see which one was bigger.
Yeah.
And then if score was bigger than the old high score, you would want to make high score what score was.
So maybe you could do like make score equal high score, and then
okay.
if
So we're doing a comparison, right? We want to see which one's bigger. So in that if, we'll want a greater than, and we want to see if the score that we just got is bigger than the old high score, then change them around.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm going to do that to add my score. Cool. And then green flag. I haven't saved my high score. There's no way I'm going to beat 4, though. I'm going to die. Oh, spoke too soon.
Yeah, I just need to try and see if you can. So now is it set? If you got a new high score, is it set?
Yeah, it just changed the high score. It changed it immediately. So I mean, we could add a bit to make sure that happens after they receive game over. So if we pull this part out, and if I put a when I receive game over chunk in, then that should technically, when game over is pumped out. Oh, actually, we could just slide it up here. That's way more efficient. And then we're not looking at different. Not looking at a bunch of different code all the time. Cool. So when I receive game over, if my score is bigger than the high score, then change the high score to my score and stop everything.
Yeah.
Okay. So hang on a second. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to go to my variables, and I'm going to go to high score, and I'm going to tell it to set high score to 0 by clicking this block. And now, no matter what score I get, assuming it's not 0. Oh. Yeah.
The thing is, what you don't want it to do is that it doesn't reset every time, because the score resets. The high score that will reset. But what I kind of wanted to do, so you have to try and beat other people who's played that game. But I don't know how you would do that.
Nice. Yeah, it's working. That's awesome. That's cool. So we've got a score, we've got a high score, I've got a flying hippo that moves past all the pipes. That's wicked.
Yeah. But another one was, if you find the game too hard or too easy, then what you can do is on the sprite one, then where it says glide for 4 seconds, so minus 240 Y position, if you can change that glide for 4 seconds. So if it's 5 seconds, then it's a bit easier because it's slower. Or if you find it really easy, then you can make it harder by making it fewer, like 3 or something like that.
I have an idea of how to do that automatically. Check this out, right? If we grab a green flag and then we tell it, when green flag is clicked, ask me a question and wait, right? So if we ask it, we can tell it to be set difficulty 1 to 5. 1 is crazy hard. 5 easy. And then I could tell it to, so whatever I put in, it needs to be a number though. So that's the thing. We'd want to be able to set I need to make a new variable. So I'm going to call this one difficulty. So it's going to ask me to set my difficulty. I'm going to put in a number, and then I'm going to set my difficulty to the answer, right? And then I can take difficulty and slide that into my speed. So glide difficulty seconds. So if you've typed 5, then it will go slow. If you type 1, then it will go really fast. So if I click my green flag, set difficulty.
Because
Okay.
while it's asking you, you glide to the bottom, so that's, and then you fly.
That's okay. I think I can fix that too. So at the moment, it's asking me to set the difficulty. So what I want to do is go to my hippo, and I want it to. So I'm going to get rid of this.
You had a wait until block. Wait until they've answered, and then do that.
That's not a bad idea. So yeah, nice one. That's a really great idea. So when I click the green flag, it'll go to there. It'll wait until. What is it waiting until? Actually, what might be better is if we take this, I can tell it to broadcast me a message. So when I receive a new broadcast, which will be new game. When I receive new game, start that thing. Yeah, cool, that should all work. And then when I go here, I will get it to broadcast new game once it's done that difficulty thing. So green flag, it will ask, okay, so it needs to go to as soon as the green flag is clicked, it has to go there. Because otherwise it just ends up dead at the bottom of the screen from where it was last time. There we go. So now set difficulty, and like I'll set it to 1 just to see what it does. Yep. That is definitely hard. And so now, okay. So now the problem I've got is that my pipes keep moving.
For some reason, my computer's not letting me add any variables, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't. It keeps saying another one exists, the same name, yeah.
Oh, bummer. Have you tried refreshing your Scratch window? That might solve a problem.
Yeah, I'm saving it.
Let's see if that works. Cool. So I'm going to make it easy on myself now. I set my difficulty to 5. And it goes much slower. Awesome.
Yeah, now that I've refreshed it, now there are loads, which I've tried making.
Amazing. Yeah, it's funny how that happens sometimes. Cool. Difficulty level works.
Difficulty. Okay, now I need to.
Got everything going on. That's cool. Awesome. How you going? You got all your variables back? Is it doing it now?
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. That's all right. Don't stress, kiddo, because that was awesome. Like we showed everybody on my one. They got to see all the bits that we wanted to do. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Great work, by the way. That was really great teaching. It's good to have a chat with you about it.
Thank you.
No, that's cool. That was awesome. So do you do a lot of this sort of stuff at home? Like do you do a lot of Scratch in your free time?
Yes, I know I do. Sometimes I do, because on the rpf.io on the website, then they have loads of like tutorials which you can go through, which I really like doing. But also I do in Code Club as well at school.
Wicked.
And we make loads of projects and stuff there.
That's cool. That's awesome. And have you got an idea for a game before we head off for today? Have you got an idea for a game that you'd like to make, or are you going to keep it secret so other people don't pinch your idea?
Well, I did. There's I like the ones where you do like the arrow keys, try and control it through mazes and stuff. And I've made
Awesome.
I've made a sort of version of that, but there are a few things which like bugs and stuff which I need to fix as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's always the way. Just as soon as you get one bug hammered out, there's another one that appears somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on today. It was wicked. We'd love to have you back again sometime soon if you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, you come back on with us and do another bit of coding in the future.
Yeah. Really
Amazing.
cool. Thank you.
Awesome. No, it was my pleasure. Thank you for coming along. That was really cool. And we'll catch you later. We'll see you soon, I hope, Zanti. But thanks for everything. It was great.
Bye. Thank
See
you.
ya. My pleasure. Awesome. So you got to see me and Zanti knock together like a semi-retro game, I guess. Like it's not super old, but it's in the same vein as a lot of the retro games we've been talking about. It's really easy to build. It's quite a simple idea that's really fun and replayable, and people really love to do it. If you've got any work that you'd like to do, that you'd like to share with us, if there's things that you've made, some simple retro games, pop them onto rpf.io/home. We love to see the things that you're making. And if you get in touch with us and your work is amazing, then we can get in touch with you. We're looking for some people to come on, young people who have done awesome things. So if you're sharing your work with us, that's how we find people like we found Mustafa last week and things like that. We get young people on who have made incredible things and get in touch with us at rpf.io/home. So we'll see you again next week, guys. The theme for next week is making graphics for games. So if you've made this and you want to start developing and making new sprites and new artwork for the different games that you're producing, then you can do that. And that's what we're going to lead you through next week as our theme evolves through our game dev series, where we're going to have this one here, make the games, and the next one here will be make all the graphics. So we'll catch you next week, everybody. Until then, keep making awesome stuff. Stay safe. See you later. Bye.